Is it fair to compare politics and sports?
There's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of
parallels.
For example.
Strategies.
Hey, the Yankees lost. I was sad. There's a lot of sad Kamala fans today. There's a similar feeling. You're pulling for somebody. You're rooting. There's other examples. There's plenty of parallels and analogies I can give you. So, yes.
I mean, and the reality is whether your political candidate or your team wins or loses, life goes on.
Life goes on without me.
Rich,
look, one is way more important than the other. That's maybe the major difference, but there's a lot of similar feelings involved.
It's funny Rich brings that up, though, Cove. I just texted you in the group chat. Who's the czar of the telestrator for CNN? Is that?
Oh, that's John King.
There you go. So King is in front of the board, and he made a sports analogy. He's like, so if you know sports, and he wrote on the board, look at that, 31-19 at the time. He's like, that's the score right now.
There's very much following a score. You're like,
definitely
wow.
Look at it like a score. Like
I
a
did.
4-quarter game.
And you watch election night every 4 years with that same sense where you would watch a big game where you're like, I'm going to sit down and focus in on this. You get your spot on the couch, and it's a night of watching. And I know you said one's way more important than the other. Agreed. I can't debate that. But its effect on your day-to-day isn't that much different.
True.
Like,
I know it sounds crazy,
if
but
Obama won,
I get it. Yeah.
if Bush won, if Clinton won, if Trump won, if Biden, it really, your day-to-day has very little change. The same way if, like I said to my friend, I go, I'm sorry, I know you were rooting for Kamala. Mets lost 2 weeks ago. I feel you.
Were they offended by that?
No, it's. I don't think it's the same as when someone says, oh, I get it, I have a dog. And you're like, I'm talking about my kid. You're talking about your dog?
Well, depending on who you vote for, it could affect the future of your kid. So people take it way serious and way too hard. You see a lot of crybaby antics in both. And I don't like the sports fan that cries about it. I don't like the political fan that cries about it because you got to move forward. Your day-to-day is supposed to move forward, and you're supposed to hope for the best. Here's my best sports analogy, I think, if you want to compare sports to politics. Is courtesy of Mr. Wonderful. He basically just expressed the same thing I think and feel, but he said it on CNN. I'm saying it to you on Fox Sports Radio. He goes, the Democrats got to look at it this way. It's a win. Much like the Yankees lost, you go back to the drawing board and you see where they were exposed and what the problems were, and you hope to come back and make those changes, and you're stronger next year. Mr. Wonderful said, yeah, Trump wins, but it's a win for the Democrats for them to now regroup, figure out what the American people didn't like, why they didn't get the votes they thought they were going to get, make the changes, make some adjustments, and come back stronger in 4 years.
And that's
to
where
me, that's very similar to a sports-like mentality of, yeah, all right, there's some problems here. Let's fix them and come back. We'll get them next time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of analogous things between sports and politics. Yeah, you're right.
But sometimes a kick to the nards and a reality check is what it takes for you to make those changes. Otherwise, you don't make those changes. You know what I mean? Like, you're not forced to make any adjustments if you think everything's great.
And I
they were
think,
reminded last night that not everybody agrees with your policies and your ways of thinking, or maybe it's just a slight adjustment here and there. Maybe it's a person involved. That's for them to figure out, much like the Yankees need to figure out the first base situation. Yeah. That's all.
If an NFL team doesn't make the playoffs for the third year in a row, then they have to start saying, all right, well, because I think a lot of people are saying, man, how did Trump win? You shouldn't think of it that way. If you're a Democrat, you should not be thinking, man, how did Trump win? You should be thinking, how did they lose? And think of it with sports. You don't say, man, how did the Dodgers win? You got to look at, well, where did we come up short? If you're a Mets fan, a Guardians fan, a Padres fan. And I think taking a good look in the mirror is how you get better at your job, sports, life, marriage. And it applies to politics. And I think you also see sometimes what would be a great example other than maybe Robert Saleh. Danny G, hit me up, maybe like a Wade Phillips. Give me a coach that is a clear coordinating genius, but maybe not a head coach.
Josh McDaniels.
And bingo was his name. Maybe Kamala Harris just isn't a president. You know, like these are all sports analogies that aren't terribly off, right? You find out who you are, you make adjustments, and I think at the end of the day, no matter who you voted for, you really do have to just root for the country. Otherwise, then you're just the a-hole. That's what are you rooting against us now? So you could hate Donald Trump, but your mindset.
There's hypocrisy there. I don't want this to turn into a political show or debate. There are similarities. Think of it as a sports team. A lot of the criticism about Trump and Trump supporters is that he's divisive, right? And it's divisive, and he divided the country, and he provided a lot of hate speech that drove a wedge through people. If you now are a crybaby about the results, whether it be your sports team or the election, and you're like, wow, I'm not playing and I'm not supporting, then you're then the one
driving the wedge,
choosing to separate yourself, dividing you with other people, creating the wedge. You're doing exactly what you accused him of in that sense. So, yeah united we should be. And you got to move forward and learn from the mistakes, back to the drawing board, much like they do in sports. And they did that on CNN. Immediately after, they started saying, well, where did we misstep? Where did they go wrong? Was it this part of the policy? Was it this stance? Was it this person, this move? You try to figure those things out, much like you do in the NFL or any other game you're playing.
And if your team doesn't win, life goes on and you root for the best. When your team's out of it, do you not watch the Super Bowl? Do you not watch the World Series? Of course you do.
That's the mature approach, but it does, you got to give people grace.
You're allowed a couple days.
12 steps of what?
No.
Acceptance,
dude,
right?
I didn't want to talk about the Yankees the next day. And again, it's not as serious as politics, but I didn't, right? So you got to give people a day or two, let it simmer, and then hopefully let it process, and hopefully people get on board and just deal with it and hope for the best, like you said. And there's a lot of similarities, put it this way, when it comes to sports and politics. It is fair to compare, but respectfully. You have to almost preface it like, I'm not saying they're the same.
Well, it is. It's like when you are, I think the best analogy is, I said it before, when you're talking about your kids and one of your friends is like, I get it. I got a dog. And you're like, I get
the proper way is like, I'm not saying they're the same, but I do have a dog. And you have to at least address that there's a huge difference.
There's commonalities, but it's not the same.
Right.
So there you go. That's it. That's all the politics you'll get. What's up, Iowa Samuel?
I just want to go back to the life goes on discussion. If you are someone who's kind of grappling with the results from last night, I saw a great meme about a month or two ago of a guy sitting in the stands at Lambeau. The sun is shining. He's holding his beer up to the sun, like, cheers to this great, beautiful day. It was the same picture right next to each other. And he's like, my life under Kamala. And the other picture says, my life under Trump. And it's just like, it just the sun's going to come up every day.
Absolutely.
And you need to just enjoy your life, or else you're missing out.
Yeah. Was there any difference when you woke up today? No.
It was very windy.
There's a bit of a relief that we have a chance now to move forward.
It's the wind of change,
and
I was saying.
You could also look at it like a new day to make the adjustments you need for 4 years from now.
There's a big fire by my house. I was like, ooh, who rioted last night?
No, I mean, I woke up.
The wind?
The wind.
Oh. Damn Trump. Can you blame someone yet?
Thanks, Trump.
Is it fair to compare sports?
No, he won.
Politics.
I thought the other side set a fire.
Way to go. But you know what? It's it really is would you consider today a fun day or a miserable day to peak on social media?
I consider it Wednesday. Like Iowa Sam.
Good one. Did you get that from Iowa Sam's joke book?
No, I agree. It's just another day. It's a midweek major.
But to make it seem like social media is not a wild place today, that's another. Come on.
Yeah, I'm ignoring it all.
Well, we're going to have fun. Coming up later on the show, politician or NFL player?
No.
Please.
That's great. I love it.
Congressman or middle infielder?
I love it.
Honestly, can we do that this week? Please.
That's actually a good idea.
To answer Rich's question, though, is it fair to compare sports and politics? It is if you do it respectfully. If you preface it the right way and if you angle it the right way.
Senate member or bullpen arm.
Do government worker or NFL player.
It doesn't even have, there's 535 people in Congress, and that between the House and the Senate. Guaranteed. There's names in there we would have no idea about.
Oh, without a doubt. You might know 2 names. All right, well, there you have it. Sports, politics. Can you compare them? Yeah, I guess so. Right? You can compare anything you want. You see, Jerry Seinfeld said he criticized the school system in New York. He said, like, if you need to take the day off, go ahead. Come on, grow up.
Well, like we said, people process things different. You give them a day or two, and hopefully everybody just moves forward. There's relief in that. It was a crazy night. It really was. And one of the things that happened to me I found to be more interesting personally, and I'll let you know. As the votes were going up, right, and I'm watching the results, I'm like, wow, this is wild.
Who's more impressive, John King on the touchscreen or Hansen on Red Zone?
Now, don't leave out my Steve Kornacki now.
And Kornacki on MSNBC.
Love Kornacki.
That's a good one. I don't know.
Hansen does it every week, so.
Yeah, I like when he goes to the
witching
Octo
hour.
box. Yeah, the Octo box.
Especially when the games get to the witching hour.
They're all impressive. They really are.